Welcome back to Dinar Daily Buzz, the global hub for IQD, VND and foreign currency holders who prioritize preparation over speculation. Let us be absolutely clear, the phase we are entering is not based on recycled rumors or hopeful guesswork. Real global shifts are unfolding in real time, across international finance, political arenas, and institutional banking systems. Strategic moves are already underway. These developments are setting the stage for significant currency market disruption, with the Iraqi Dinar, IQD and Vietnamese Dong VND positioned as the heart of it. Those still waiting for loud official confirmation are already falling behind. The preparation window that exists today is not permanent. It can close abruptly without warning, and once it does, there are no second chances. That is the reality. Right now, millions of currency holders worldwide are asking the same critical question. Where will you exchange when the revaluation shock hits? If you hold currency in any form, physical or digital, time is no longer theoretical. It has value. Seconds matter. The banking reality before any RV event. Not every financial institution that handles common currencies like euros, pounds, or yen will be ready or willing to exchange less common currencies such as IQD or VND. This is not about bias. It is about compliance, internal policy, and institutional risk management. At present, most U.S. banks avoid these currencies because their compliance departments have not formally approved them. That can change instantly once revaluation occurs. But here is the real risk: delays. Delays can cost you priority access, limit rate options, or exclude you from specialized exchange opportunities altogether. Preparation is not about watching headlines. It is about understanding which institutions are quietly positioning themselves at now. Those who emerge strongest after a revaluation will already be connected to private banking networks. Wells Fargo quiet preparation, not public promotion. Wells Fargo does not publicly advertise IQD or VND exchange services. However, credible reports from internal financial circles suggest the bank's wealth management divisions are conducting specialized training tied to Tier 3 currency handling protocols. These systems are not designed for walk-in retail traffic. They are built for private banking clients with established relationships. Insider chatter points to selective branch access for high-value clients already functioning in certain regions well below mainstream visibility. If you are not already a Wells Fargo client, opening a personal or business account now matters. A documented banking history can translate into priority access during liquidity events. When exchange windows tighten, existing relationships often determine who moves first. Chase Bank strategic silence ongoing preparation. As one of the largest U.S. banks, Chase rarely telegraphs its operational shifts publicly. Yet signals from private wealth circles indicate ongoing preparation for major currency movements. While no formal IQD or VND redemption announcement exists, Chase private clients report increased and more detailed discussions around foreign currency during wealth reviews. Unconfirmed but credible internal documents suggest structured exchange readiness if a trigger event occurs. If you already bank with Chase, now is the time to engage. Speak with your banker. Schedule standing appointments. Build recognition. Active relationships carry weight. Silence from major institutions often reflects positioning, not inactivity. Bank of America scalability advantage. Bank of America currently supports Vietnamese Dong exchanges, though IQD remains restricted in its standard FX framework. However, Bank of America's true strength lies in scalability. Its FX operations can rapidly expand capacity when markets shift. Clients connected through Merrill Lynch or private wealth management may benefit significantly if policies adjust post-revaluation. Onboarding is straightforward, but timing matters. Those who wait for announcements face bottlenecks, early inquiries, discreet conversations, and awareness of internal training or policy updates often reveal readiness long before public notices appear. Citi global reach, tiered access. Citi's international FX infrastructure gives it an edge during rapid global shifts. While retail channels do not advertise IQD or VND handling, higher-tier programs like Citi Gold and private wealth services offer far more flexibility. The advantage comes from early enrollment, consolidating accounts, scheduling advisory meetings, and establishing internal familiarity unlocks tools and access unavailable to walk-in clients. Global events reward global positioning. Regional banks agility over scale. Smaller institutions such as Fifth Third, Regions, PNC, and similar banks often move faster than national giants. Their decision chains are shorter, allowing rapid policy shifts and localized exchange windows. While they may not handle massive volume, they can become critical entry points if larger systems stall. Establish relationships now. Speak with branch managers. Ask professional questions about foreign currency procedures. Being known early can mean day one access later. Currency exchange dealers tactical speed. If banks delayed, licensed currency exchange dealers can provide speed. Firms like Currency Exchange International, CXI, TravelX, and Zoom specialize in rapid FX adaptation. CXI in particular has historically upgraded systems within 24 to 48 hours of major rate changes. Rates may not match negotiated private banking tiers, but accessibility often wins in the early phase. Always verify licensing, transaction limits, identification requirements, and appointment procedures ahead of time. Preparation defeats panic. Private redemption centers verify everything. Private redemption centers remain controversial, but credible insiders confirm some are preparing quietly. These facilities cater to high volume and institutionally referred clients and often involve NDAs, contract rates, and structured services. Verification is non-negotiable. Demand credentials, documentation, and transparency. Prepare complete records, government ID, proof of ownership, receipts, and notarized declarations. One missing document can end eligibility. Documentation and currency condition matter. Damaged notes will be rejected. No writing, no tiers, no stains. Store bills properly and clearly labeled by denomination. Create redundant digital backups of all documentation. Use encrypted storage and offline copies. Ensure a trusted individual knows where everything is stored. Expect heightened AML scrutiny. Missing paperwork can delay or deny participation entirely. Relationships are strategic assets. Banking relationships matter more than announcements. Familiar, trusted clients often receive earlier access and smoother navigation during disruptive events. Citi's international FX infrastructure gives it a structural advantage during periods of rapid global financial shifts because its systems, compliance frameworks, and correspondent banking relationships are already designed to operate across jurisdictions. While standard retail-facing channels often appear limited, frequently omitting less common currencies like the Iraqi Dinar, AED, or Vietnamese Dong, VND, this surface-level constraint does not reflect the bank's full internal capability. Higher-tier programs such as Citi Gold, Citi Private Client, and Private Wealth Management operate on a different plane entirely, offering access pathways that are relationship-driven rather than menu-driven. The real leverage comes from early enrollment and deliberate positioning. Consolidating accounts signals seriousness and reduces friction during compliance reviews. Scheduling advisory meetings establishes human continuity, which matters when internal exceptions or accelerated reviews are required. Familiarity works both ways. The institution learns your profile and you learn how the institution actually operates under stress. This mutual understanding unlocks tools and discretionary flexibility that are simply unavailable to walk-in clients or last-minute inquiries. During global events, whether geopolitical shocks, liquidity squeezes, or sudden policy shifts, banks prioritize known quantities. Clients who are already vetted, documented, and internally recognized move through systems faster and with fewer interruptions. Global events tend to reward global positioning not because of luck but because preparation aligns with how large institutions manage risk, access and timing when conditions change quickly. Smaller and mid-sized regional institutions such as Fifth Third, Regions, PNC, and similar banks often compensate for their lack of global scale with operational agility and localized decision-making. Their organizational structures typically involve shorter approval chains, fewer layers of bureaucracy, and a closer connection between branch leadership and regional compliance teams. This can translate into faster policy adjustments, quicker internal guidance updates, and more responsive handling of unusual customer requests during periods of disruption. While these banks may not process massive foreign currency volumes, or maintain extensive international desks, they can become strategically important entry points if larger national systems slow down under volume, risk reviews, or centralized decision bottlenecks. Establishing relationships well in advance is critical. Speaking directly with branch managers, treasury officers, or senior relationship bankers allows you to understand how foreign currency procedures are interpreted locally, not just how they are written in policy manuals. Asking professional, informed questions signals seriousness, and help staff remember you when circumstances change. Being a known documented client can mean earlier phone calls, prioritized appointments, or clearer guidance when new exchange windows or services open. In fast-moving environments, familiarity and trust often matter as much as formal capability, and regional banks can leverage that dynamic more quickly than their larger counterparts. When traditional banking channels hesitate or pause due to internal reviews, licensed currency exchange dealers can offer a different kind of advantage. Tactical speed firms such as Currency Exchange International, CXI, TravelX, and Zoom operate with business models specifically designed around foreign exchange responsiveness rather than broad retail banking services. Their systems, staffing, and vendor relationships are often calibrated to adapt quickly to rate changes, demand spikes, or new currency handling requirements. CXI in particular has historically demonstrated the ability to upgrade pricing, settlement, and compliance systems within 24 to 48 hours following significant FX developments. While exchange rates at these dealers may not always match the negotiated spreads available through private banking tiers, early-phase accessibility can outweigh marginal pricing differences. Speed, certainty of execution, and clear procedures are often more valuable than theoretical best rates that are unavailable in practice. Preparation remains essential. Always verify licensing status, regulatory oversight, transaction limits, identification requirements, and whether appointments are required or recommended. Understanding daily volume caps and settlement timelines ahead of time prevents costly surprises. In volatile environments, currency exchange dealers can serve as practical bridges when larger institutions are still aligning internally, provided you approach them with the same diligence and documentation discipline you would apply to a bank. Private redemption centers occupy a controversial and often misunderstood space, largely because they operate outside traditional retail visibility and rely heavily on referral-based access. While public information is limited, credible insiders across finance, compliance, and logistics communities suggest that some facilities quietly prepare for high-volume specialized transactions well before any public rollout. These centers typically cater to institutionally referred or high-net-worth clients and may involve non-disclosure agreements, contractually defined rates, and structured service models that differ significantly from standard exchanges. Verification is absolutely non-negotiable in this environment. Any legitimate operation should be able to provide verifiable credentials, regulatory documentation, and transparent explanations of process and custody. Vague assurances, pressure tactics, or resistance to reasonable questions are immediate red flags. Clients should be prepared with complete records including government-issued identification, proof of currency ownership, acquisition receipts where applicable, and notarized declarations if required. Missing or inconsistent documentation can immediately disqualify participation regardless of volume. It is also prudent to involve independent legal or financial advisors to review any contracts or NDAs before engagement. Private redemption centers may offer structured advantages, but only disciplined verification and professional oversight can separate legitimate opportunities from unacceptable risk. In any formal exchange or redemption environment, documentation and physical currency condition are not minor details. They are gatekeeping criteria. Damaged notes are routinely rejected under international banking and AML standards. Writing, tears, stains, excessive wear, or improper storage can render bills ineligible regardless of denomination or quantity. Proper handling includes storing currency flat, protected from moisture, light, and pressure, and clearly organized by denomination. Documentation carries equal weight. Comprehensive records help establish provenance, satisfy anti-money laundering requirements, and expedite compliance reviews. Creating redundant digital backups of all documents is essential. Encrypted digital storage combined with offline copies ensures access even during system outages or technical failures. It is also wise to ensure a trusted individual knows where physical and digital records are stored, particularly in scenarios involving travel or unexpected delays. Expect heightened scrutiny during disruptive events, not leniency. Regulatory environments tighten when volumes surge and institutions prioritize defensibility over speed. Missing paperwork, inconsistent timelines, or unclear ownership histories can delay processing indefinitely or result in outright denial. Preparation at this level is not optional. It is the baseline requirement for participation in any serious financial process. Banking relationships function as strategic assets, especially during periods of uncertainty or rapid change. Announcements, public notices, and generalized guidance often lag behind internal readiness and operational reality. Familiar, trusted clients are frequently informed earlier, scheduled sooner, and guided more clearly because institutions already understand their risk profiles and documentation histories. Relationship managers and branch leaders are more comfortable advocating internally for clients they know, particularly when exceptions, escalations, or priority handling are required. Building these relationships requires more than casual contact. Asking intelligent, well-researched questions demonstrates respect for the institution's processes and signals long-term intent rather than opportunistic behavior. Listening carefully is equally important. Subtle changes in tone, scheduling availability, or procedure language often indicate internal shifts before anything is formally announced. These signals are where actionable insight lies. Consistent professional engagement builds trust over time, and trust translates into access when systems are strained. In disruptive environments, institutions do not simply serve everyone equally. They triage based on risk, readiness, and relationship strength. Those who have invested early in building credibility and familiarity are positioned to navigate complexity more smoothly, while those who wait for public signals often find that the most advantageous windows have already narrowed or closed as conditions evolve and systems quietly shift. The real advantage belongs to those who know how to observe rather than react. Asking intelligent questions is not about interrogating staff or seeking secret confirmations. It is about demonstrating understanding of process, compliance, and timing. Thoughtful questions signal that you are prepared, informed, and capable of navigating complexity. This changes how conversations unfold. Listening carefully is equally critical. Many meaningful indicators are not delivered directly or explicitly. Instead, they appear in subtle changes. A delayed call back where there was once immediacy, a rescheduled meeting framed as operational adjustments, or a shift in language from hypothetical to procedural. These nuances often precede formal announcements. Watching internal procedures such as new documentation requests, altered appointment requirements, or changes in verification steps can reveal more than any headline ever will. Insight lives in these margins because institutions rarely telegraph strategic moves publicly before they are fully implemented. Those who are attentive can align themselves early, adjust expectations, and refine preparation without panic. This discipline separates strategic actors from reactive ones. Financial systems reward calm awareness, not emotional urgency. The ability to read environments, interpret behavior, and respond deliberately is a skill developed over time. In periods of transition, this skill becomes decisive. Those who cultivate it move with confidence while others remain dependent on rumors and late-stage information. Any environment involving anticipated financial change inevitably attracts opportunists, and private exchange narratives are no exception. Scammers thrive where uncertainty, hope, and urgency intersect. Groups that push artificial deadlines, demand secrecy, or require upfront fees should be treated with extreme skepticism. Legitimate financial operations do not rely on pressure tactics or vague assurances. They rely on documentation, regulatory clarity, and verifiable leadership. One of the most reliable defenses is insisting on transparent histories: who operates the entity, under what jurisdiction, with what licenses, and with what track record. Real institutions leave trails: corporate filings, regulatory registrations, professional affiliations, and third-party references. Fraudulent actors avoid these details or obscure them behind jargon and emotional appeals. Another warning sign is the promise of exclusive access without substantiation. Exclusivity in finance exists, but it is always accompanied by formal processes, legal review, and compliance oversight. There is no legitimate reason for a serious operation to resist reasonable verification. Protecting yourself requires patience and discipline. Take time to cross-check claims, consult independent professionals, and walk away from anything that feels rushed or opaque. The cost of missing an opportunity is always lower than the cost of entering a fraudulent one. In volatile environments, skepticism is not cynicism, it is self-preservation. The exchange itself, regardless of scale or outcome, is not the finish line. It is the starting point. History consistently shows that sudden liquidity without structure leads to erosion rather than sustainability. The period immediately following an exchange is where long-term outcomes are decided. Tax strategy must be addressed early with qualified professionals who understand both jurisdictional requirements and forward-looking planning. Asset diversification is equally important. Concentrating wealth in a single class or vehicle exposes it to unnecessary risk. Estate planning should not be delayed. Trust structures, beneficiary designations, and succession planning protect not only assets but also relationships and intentions. Disciplined decision-making is the unglamorous foundation of lasting success. Emotional spending, impulsive investments, and unvetted opportunities are the most common causes of rapid loss. Working with experienced advisors, legal, financial, and fiduciary, creates accountability and perspective. Planning should be measured in decades, not months. Wealth that is stewarded thoughtfully becomes a tool for stability, opportunity, and legacy. Wealth that is treated casually becomes a temporary event. The difference is structure, patience, and professional guidance applied consistently over time. Modern financial processes increasingly depend on digital infrastructure, especially during periods of heightened demand. Being digitally unprepared can create delays as serious as missing documentation. Devices should be updated, secure, and reliable. Internet access must be stable with backup options available if primary connections fail. Official portals, institutional websites, and secure communication channels should be bookmarked and tested in advance. Login credentials should be verified, passwords updated, and multi-factor authentication methods confirmed to work properly. Authentication backups such as secondary devices, recovery codes, or hardware tokens can prevent lockouts at critical moments. Cybersecurity hygiene is not optional. It is foundational. High-visibility financial activity attracts attention, including malicious actors. Secure networks, updated operating systems, and cautious behavior protect both access and assets. Speed and stability matter when demand spikes, but speed without preparedness leads to mistakes. Digital readiness reduces friction, lowers stress, and allows focus to remain on decision-making rather than technical troubleshooting. In modern finance, operational readiness is as important as financial readiness. Those who overlook this dimension often find themselves delayed not by institutions but by their own systems. As momentum builds and narratives circulate, the true dividing line is preparation. Positioning consistently outperforms guessing because it aligns action with reality rather than hope. Those who act early, build relationships, organize documentation, and maintain operational readiness move with far fewer obstacles. Those who wait for certainty often encounter closed doors, backlogs, and heightened scrutiny. This is not hype and it is not fear-based messaging. It is discipline applied over time. Discipline favors those who plan quietly and execute deliberately. Iraqi Dinar info exists to emphasize strategic insight, practical preparedness, and grounded financial intelligence, not speculation. This is about execution, not excitement. The RV, if and when it occurs, is not a lottery ticket. It is a preparation exam. Those who approach it with structure, patience, and strategy increase their probability of success. Those who rely on luck become cautionary examples for others. Stay sharp, stay ready. The environment rewards those who respect process and preparation. We will see you in the next update. Disclaimer: the information presented is for general educational and informational purposes only. It does not constitute financial, investment, legal, tax, or accounting advice and should not be relied upon as such. Nothing herein should be interpreted as a recommendation, solicitation or endorsement to buy, sell, exchange or hold any currency, asset, or financial instrument. All references to currencies, financial institutions, exchange processes, timelines, or potential outcomes are based on publicly available information, historical patterns, personal analysis or opinion, and are subject to change without notice. Financial markets, regulatory environments, and institutional policies are inherently dynamic and unpredictable. No guarantees explicit or implied are made regarding availability, timing, rates, access or outcomes of any exchange or financial event.